Jump off that exhausting hamster wheel and into balanced living with Dr. Marissa.
Promise you joy in the mystery.
Dr. Marissa, also known as the Asian Oprah. Her mission, to be a beneficial presence on the planet. Her purpose, to be your personal advocate to live, laugh, love, learn. Her life motto, don't die wondering. Take back your life with Dr. Marissa Pay.
And welcome. You're tuned in to Take My Advice. I'm not using it. Get balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on NBC News Radio, CNBC News, and NBC Sports Station, KCAA, home to the Asian Oprah, AM 1050, FM 106.5, and streaming everywhere. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Stitcher, iTunes, TuneIn, Audible, Amazon Music, Tiki Live, Rumble, Podchaser, Streaker, and more. I am your host of this show about hope and happiness. So there's no gossip here, no scandal, and no K-words. No Kanye talk at all. Instead, I want you to focus on your reality show and how you can be happy 88% of the time. So I bring you topics and guests. If you missed my last interview with the Waltons, Goodnight John Boy, with Keiko Matsui, #1 Billboard artist, to Anson Williams from the Happy Days, and so much more, please go to my YouTube channel. It houses all 948 shows and counting. So grateful to be here. Just celebrated 11 years. And anybody who said a show about hope and happiness wouldn't last, I'm so glad you're wrong. I won't use any other words about that. But I am here now. This week is 579 consecutive weeks. So I'm so glad you're here. And I bring back my favorite guests. And so today you are in for a treat. Not only are you going to have a repeat guest who you see on camera right now, he's the wonderful son of Marion Ross, who is an amazing actor, and you will remember his impressions that were just, tickled my funny bone and more. And I love to laugh. It's my favorite sound in the world. So I love having Jim Meskimen back. And then a little later, we're going to bring on a beloved, definitely one of my top 8 guests in the 11 years, his mom, Marion Ross, who was the beloved Mrs. Cunningham on Happy Days. So that's what we have here serving up for you. Let me give you a little bit of a formal introduction to my guest. Jim Meskimen is an actor, impressionist, voice artist, and improvisational, obviously I don't do that well, comedian, best known for his work on Whose Line Is It Anyway? And Impress Me, currently playing Colonel Sanders in the popular KFC commercial, as well as President George Washington crossing the Delaware Turnpike for Geico, which led his mother, Marion Ross, Mrs. C from Happy Days, to claim that she is now the mother of the father of our country. Jim's ability to recreate true-to-life characters is not limited to acting, but noted impersonations such as Sir Patrick Stewart, President G.W. Bush, Morgan Freeman, Robin Williams, Tommy Lee Jones, Christopher Walken, Sam Elliott, Sir Ian McKellen, and many, many more. I love that on social media he entertains. He actually has a spin a wheel where he tests his spontaneity on the voices that he gets to do. Maybe we'll do that with a, I don't know where maybe you have the wheel in your
I know. I'm wheelless. But
oh, you're wheelless? Okay. Well, we'll figure it out.
I'm
Jim
cookieless as well.
Right.
No fortune cookie here.
No fortune cookie? He who has a fortune cookie under pillow has crummy dream. See, I made you laugh. Yay! Yeah, that's pretty good.
Oh, you won.
Jim's launched an online course on how to become a working actor, which is extremely valuable for anybody who's come to Hollywood with some aspirations, in special courses in voiceover and even impressions. It's available at www.jimworkingactor.co. Is it C-O or C-O-M?
It's com.
Okay.
Yeah, that's
recently, Jim hit 8.3, or actually it's probably more than that, and 7.8 million views on his TikToks. And let's see, we'll talk about his mom later. But thank you so much, Jim, for coming back to the show and a formal. Welcome back.
Dr. Marissa. Thanks a lot for that kind welcome. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. It's so wonderful to have you. So you are actually doing some new things now.
Yep.
You're on a show. Tell us about that. The big something.
Let me tell you about it, because I've got all the info. It's called the Big Door Prize. It's on Apple TV Plus. And it's not a game show. It sounds kind of like it is, but it's not. It's called the Big Door Prize, but it's about it's a fictional series, very funny, but also very, very warm and dramatic as well. It's kind of fantastical. It sort of takes a look at what happens when a small town gets a fortune-telling machine, a very sophisticated fortune-telling machine, dropped into the middle of it, and people start going to this machine and they enter all their data, and they get a little blue card that tells them what their true life's potential should be. And in our story, that creates a lot of chaos because people are teachers, or they're mayors, or they're people that work in a store, and they get cards that tell them that really their destiny is quite different. And they begin to shift around and try to make sense of it all. So it's a fun series by the maker. One of the showrunners was responsible for Schitt's Creek, if you saw that show. And that was a very successful comedy series. This one is also very funny. And it's on Apple TV Plus. And it stars Chris O'Dowd, who is the lead character, who is a teacher in the show at the local high school. And he gets a card that confuses him completely. And I play his father. And since Chris O'Dowd is from Ireland, I also had to sort of learn how to do an Irish accent that was the kind of Irish accent that Chris O'Dowd is endowed with himself. And so it's a pleasure to work with him and to play that character.
Wonderful. And I just know it's going to be a great success, probably because that question, if it wasn't a big question before that, the BC19 hashtag BC19 is what I call the time before COVID.
BC19,
it is
very good, yeah.
It is certainly a very important question now.
Yeah, always,
Who am I? What am I doing? Why am I not
potential?
doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. So speaking of potential, when was the first time you knew that this really was your path? I'm sure growing up with your mom, being around Fonzie or all of the characters on Happy Days, was it something that you were born genetically with? So, or when would you say you caught that bug of wanting to entertain? Because it truly is, it's been glorified in a way. And it's also, every actor that's been on my show talks about the rejection, which not a lot of people talk about the reality of that. And we tend to put them on a pedestal. We've seen so many of them fall off the cliff of addiction or, even suicide. One of my favorite impressions that you do is Robin Williams, and just the sadness or the chaos and the wonder. It's like ABC Sports, the thrill of victory and the agony of defeat when it comes to acting and things like that. Talk to me about that.
Yes, that horrible thing we remember from the Wild World of Sports where the guy with the skier goes off the. Boy, I think that kept a lot of people from going into skiing. That's for sure. The agony of defeat. Just throwing in a little homage to Robin Williams there.
Please,
I do the Blue Genie character quite a lot. And you mentioned Happy Days, and I was around the set with Ron Howard when he was a very young man, and also Don Most. I do impressions of all the Happy Days guys because that was the milieu that I got to see behind the scenes. Sort of behind the curtain. And Anson Williams too. And I've been doing an Anson Williams impression for years and years. Nobody ever asked me to do it, but I still do it. And of course, the Fonz, Henry Winkler, was a tremendous power. He was the Elvis of the 70s.
So I did feel very attracted to entertaining people all my life. I was very nervous about it, though. I had a lot of stage fright, which I had to kind of confront, and that was tricky. And I also had another career that I was very interested in, which was cartooning and illustration and drawing and painting. So visual arts were something that I could do at home and in school, of course, instead of doing homework, and it was something that I could do without worrying about stage fright. Frankly, it was sort of a way to entertain and create characters and create a world without having to be in front of people. And when eventually I got through the stage fright phase, I was in my 20s, and I'd pushed through and I'd done plays and stuff like that, but it was never terribly comfortable. And when I eventually pushed through that, then I could pursue acting full time. And I realized, this is more the life for me, because the fine art road that I'd gone down, and I'd gone as far as, studying in Spain with a master and really hunkering down and learning how to be a realist painter in the classic sense. I found that was a very lonely kind of lifestyle for me, a little too lonely. So when I moved to New York, and I embraced the improv world first, and then commercials, television, radio, and eventually got into TV and film. Are you there? And I've stopped talking now.
Sorry, I muted myself. They're doing a little bit of construction.
Oh,
so I
see.
wanted
Okay.
to, yes, but
well, I'll talk longer. I won't let you participate as much.
It's believe me, it's not easy to mute me. All right. So, but how old were you when you were in Europe? I didn't know that part about seriously studying with a painter.
Yeah, for a couple years in my 20, 21, 22. Okay. Yeah, I lived in Spain, in Galicia, Spain, in the countryside, and not a touristy part of Spain. I remember my teacher invited me to come to Spain, and I was like, in my mind, I thought, wow, sun-bleached buildings and the sea and, heat and people walking around in white muslin. And I lived in Galicia. It was rainy and cold. It was kind of like now here in LA, the way it is right now.
Yes. Yeah.
This is little bit of Galicia right now.
Right.
But it was beautiful place. And I wouldn't trade it for anything. It was a tough experience because I'd been kind of raised, I had it pretty easy. I lived in Southern California. My mother became a TV star. Let's face it, we were never really hurting past a certain point, and cars and phones and, everything of the day. I moved to Galicia. We didn't have any air conditioning or heat, no phones, no refrigeration, and we didn't have any flush toilets. So that was a pretty big upheaval. And then we're working really hard to try to do something very difficult, which is realist oil painting is tough.
Yeah. Do you still paint?
Yes, a little
cool.
bit. I do it because I love the activity of it. And occasionally I have shows. Every few years I have a show.
Oh, that's great.
And my friends buy my paintings, and
that's what friends are for.
But I do draw, and I do draw more regularly. I now on an iPad I draw, and I have also among the many little hobbies or activities that I have. You mentioned the celebrity fortune cookie, which is a video I do every day, but I also have a monthly cartoon contest on YouTube and on social media where I draw a cartoon, and then I invite people of the world to caption it, and I pick the winner of the funniest caption, and I give them a prize.
I want to do that. I didn't know
it on my YouTube channel. Yeah,
when do you release it? What day?
It's rather arbitrary, but usually once a month, somewhere in the month. So there's one running right now. You can still get in on. I think it probably ends pretty soon, but then we'll put up another one.
Okay.
I've been doing it since about 1986, so I'm sort of addicted to it. Yeah, it's really fun.
That is super cool.
Yeah, and it gives me an excuse to draw.
Yeah. Well, one, I applaud you for not buying into the BS, the belief system that you can only do one thing in life. I'm a big, absolutely not.
I bought into it for a while, and it confused me, and then I opted out, and I'm much happier.
I'm super glad to hear about that, because I sometimes feel like I'm alone on an island yelling at the world that that's not true. And
You're not alone, Dr. Marissa. You're not alone. There are so many of us here, all of us huddled in the back. They're not on camera at the moment, but we can call them.
I know I keep expecting your characters to come through the door.
I need to keep pushing them out.
Yeah, please do. Please do.
You mentioned George W. Bush. Speaking of pushing him out, I'll tell you what, he's pushing out paintings himself.
Really?
He's working down in Crawford doing a lot of paintings. Yeah. I mean, he's not educated, but he's a gifted armature.
Okay. I want to go back to shy and stage fright. I don't think you said shy, but stage fright. You did. And it's just amazing to me. Another BS, a common BS is actors, musicians are just naturally shy like me. No, sarcasm is another service I offer. The way your mom said, I cannot believe that you have not done acting. That was the one thing. She was just like stunned, right? Because I am so shy.
Yeah.
But I'm always surprised at how many people will say, successful, out there, singers, musicians, actors, that I am actually an introvert. I'm shy. I'm not comfortable with people. And have you ever heard, I meant to look that up as a statistic, like how many that is true for, or the stage fright or things like that. That to me is not something I'm asking for an answer for necessarily, but I was just kind of surprised. Like, I mean, of the people that you study, which last time I had the honor of interviewing you, you were talking about the practice or the discipline, or I call it a blissipline of getting into character.
Like that word.
Isn't that great?
Great.
I would love to take credit, but that's from my big brother, Michael Bernard Beckwith, the founder of Agape, one of the teachers on The Secret. He's the one that actually introduced me to Oprah as the Asian Oprah, just in case you thought I made that up.
That must have been an awkward moment.
It was. I told that to Jimmy Fallon, and he said, if I'm the Asian Oprah, he's the Puerto Rican Jerry Lewis.
Nice.
Interesting, right? But yes, it was a little awkward in the sense that she looked at me, looked down, looked back at me, smiled, and said, "Nice pants." And the awkward moment was, do I say, do you want them? Like, that was the awkward moment for me. But anyways, back to stage fright. I think that's what we were talking about. Yeah. Just like, how does someone who is an introvert or shy want to go into an industry that is anything but private? Yeah.
Well, I mean, I had to recognize what result I was trying to produce on other people, right? So if I'm trying to cheer people up or make them have an experience as an actor, create characters, do impressions, whatever, make them laugh, make them feel better, I have to be willing to be in front of them and to do my art form, to perform. I tell you what helped me get over it a lot was improvisational theater, which I did in New York for years and years. And the good thing that I got out of it, this particular school of improv that I worked with in this particular group, was that, just do it and throw it out there and make a choice. It'll be fine, which you have to kind of learn from experience. Other areas of the theater, there's like the concept of, well, there's a right and a wrong. There's a good and there's a not so good. There's all this evaluation. In improv, it's just not practical because you're in front of people. They're giving you something right away. You don't have any rehearsal period. You don't really have time to make too many choices at all. You just have to kind of go with it. And after you've done that enough times, and if you're working with like-minded people who are trained in the same way, you find that, just about any good idea pops up pretty fast. If you have a good mind, you think of something and you go down that path, and then it's over and everybody had a great time. There's no disaster. There's no like, oh my God, that was so embarrassing. It just doesn't happen. So after I'd done that for a few years, I calmed down a lot, and I really had a good time performing. And now I feel more comfortable actually improvising than almost anything else, because if you have a part that has specific lines, there's certain TV shows and productions that require you to be completely letter perfect. And when you're on a stage with a bunch of people, like I did the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel one time.
You did? Which episode? See if I can remember
Season two.
Okay.
The first, I think it was the first one of season 2, and she went to a comedy club, and which is not really giving you much information, but she was kind of dissed a little bit for being a female performer by some of the male comedians there. Not my character, thank goodness. But I played a comedian who was an impressionist from Canada, and so I was, in the 60s. And when I auditioned for it, it was a delight because I got to create my own material. I picked some people from the 60s, and they hired me off of the tape. Then when I got to New York a few days before the shoot, I unfortunately had to wait quite a long time for them to finish the script. And so I didn't have the time that one would want to really, and they also didn't know that they wanted it letter perfect, that I wouldn't be able to make it my own or kind of, loosey-goosey it or anything like that. It was like, nope. The way that Amy Palladino works is it's like every word, every comma is you have to take responsibility for. So I was struggling on that day. And it's much easier, just to wrap it up, it's much easier for me to improvise something where I can do a perfectly acceptable character or piece of content without having to worry about somebody looking at a script and going, wait a minute, he said and it's that.
Wow, I had no idea. That is, I always thought it was a little more loosey-goosey, as you called it.
No, that's good acting.
Especially
it's just good acting. Yeah, on that
Wow.
show, I have so much respect for those actors now, Tony Shalhoub and everybody. They're because they're rattling off dialogue. And my mother, who we'll talk to shortly, I'm sure can tell you that when she worked for Amy Palladino on the Gilmore Girls, same deal. It's like she writes it, she wants it done exactly that way. And, you can't argue with the results, but you got to know going into it and hopefully have the script a few days ahead of time.
Wow, that is something new. I love learning something new. So yeah, I guess it depends on the director. But I mean, someone like Robin Williams and Jim Carrey, they cannot be doing exactly what the script is, because I just their outtakes are hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, when you become a big star and the whole point of the movie is that you're in it, I think you have a little bit of latitude.
Okay, fair enough. So so this show sounds great. When does it air? And
the Big Door Prize, all of season 1 is now available to be seen and watched and enjoyed on Apple TV Plus. Okay. And we have just before the strike started, we completed season 2. I was flying to Atlanta to work on that just last month, so we're done with that. And that I don't know when that season 2 is going to launch, but maybe later this year. I don't really know. But season 1, all 10 episodes you can see right now, and you'll see me and the very charming Chris O'Dowd, and it's a swell show that'll make you laugh and make you think, and perhaps even consider your own destiny. We'll see.
Yeah, it sounds great. I want to go back to what you said about not evaluating yourself, not criticizing yourself. And I think very for important. Me, that has been, May, we're ending the month of mental health awareness. Would you agree with me? You don't have to. That one of the keys to a happy life, or one of the keys to a successful life, is the ability to not care so much about what people are saying negative, especially about you, that it's important to approve of yourself, because if you can't approve of yourself, how the fork do you expect someone else to approve of you? Certainly for me, if I took to heart the things that have been said about me behind my back, in front of my back, I would probably be like, I'm melting. But I one of the things that I appreciate about myself, which is what I usually do at the beginning of the show, is, the top of the bun is gratitude, the bottom of the bun is appreciation. So what do you like about yourself? And we'll ask you that question, that you anchor yourself in so that you're not so rocked by negative, your own or other people's.
Well, that's a really important point. I'm glad you're bringing that up. And it's something I talk about in my series about being a working actor, because this kind of self-criticism and evaluation that we generate for ourselves, right? We kind of hold ourselves back, and that has to be conquered. You have to work on it, and you have to get rid of it any way you can, because it just slows you down, and it's usually not accurate. It's usually somebody else's idea of what's right or what you should be doing, or, we're all different. Everybody's different. We all come from a different place, and nobody knows us like ourselves and the people that love and approve of us. So I think you can build your confidence much quicker, and confidence is very important. You can build your confidence much quicker by just eliminating that voice in your head that tells you, no, careful there, or, oh, that's not quite as good as you did last time, or, do you really think you're any good at this? I don't know. There's a lot of people out there that are a lot better than you. All that garbage, which is endless. And it comes from outside, obviously, from other people. And then the really powerful one, that kind of really forceful dissuasion, comes from our own minds. And you have to build a discipline of just ignoring it, or just going the other way with it and saying, no, I know what I'm doing. I like doing this. If it sucks, someone will let me know, but I'm going to just go ahead and do it, and that's how successful artists operate. A lot of times they're tormented by it, but that's why I think you have to make it a discipline, or a blissipline. Is that what the word was?
Blissipline.
Make a blissipline to honest officer. I have not been drinking. I said blissipline.
Blame Dr. Marissa.
Yeah. The blissipline of having the confidence in yourself to set aside those negative thoughts. And it's a lifetime thing. I mean, I can't say that I never get them, but I get them much less frequently now. I don't listen to them, and I don't encourage other people to.
Absolutely. I call it, don't shit on yourself.
100%.
See, there's the accent right there with the ambulance saying this is absolutely true.
I thought that was here. That was here.
No,
couldn't tell where that ambulance
it's over here. They know you're on the air with me. Okay, so let's see. New voices that you've been trying out since you were on my show last?
Well, I did an attempt, and I still can try a little bit to do Elon Musk, and he's got a kind of a button-down way of talking, which is great, and just the slightest little, very, very tiny South African accent, which is pretty negligible. I always do Sam Elliott when I can, because that's a lot of fun. I mean, he's really down there, but there's something that rings true in that cowboy way of expressing yourself.
Wow, of course, I closed my eyes and I saw Sam Elliott just now.
Oh, thank you. It's just a hallucination. And the other one that I love to do is Sir Patrick Stewart, because there's something so wonderfully, I won't say childlike, but there's something mischievous about him, and avuncular at the same time, like an uncle. So we like Patrick Stewart a lot, I think.
That's great. 2-minute viewpoint on the writer's strike.
Oh, well, I mean, I think they have a beef, and we have all these streaming services, and the writer's lifestyle is very challenging, I have to say. My sister's a writer. She's an Emmy-winning writer and producer who worked on Friends and many other shows. And I have observed through her lifestyle that it is extremely long hours, extremely insecure, and yet very demanding. Writing is a backbone of modern entertainment. I mean, all the great resurgence of quality that we're seeing in television right now, it's really kind of a golden age of television shows. They're just fantastic programming going on, from Better Call Saul to, all the stuff on, I dare say, the Big Door Prize, great writing. All these things require a lot of work. And so, they're not to be poo-pooed. It's not something that AI is going to replace in this century, I don't think, because it takes a lot of aesthetic attention, a lot of talent, and a lot of work. So the fact that they're not being remunerated in a way that allows them to make a living, to support their families and keep going, through the dry times, is something that needs looking at. And it just, it's a negotiation, and we have them every now and then. And I guess negotiations froze up, so now we have a strike. Hopefully it won't last long. We actors and the Screen Actors Guild are supporting the writers, of course, and are out on the picket lines as well. So I would look for it to be handled soon, and I would hope that the producers and the representatives for the Writers Guild will get together quickly and get an agreement. We're going to have to agree on something.
Yeah. Although the very idea of agreement these days seems to have gone into hiatus.
It's so out of fashion, agreement, being combative and pugilistic is so much more satisfying, don't you find?
Yes and no, please. Please. Yeah.
I joke because I jest.
Yes. The best sign I saw, the protest sign, it said from a writer, one less boat. Or no, one less yacht was
one less yacht.
Yeah, one less yacht.
One less yacht.
And
OLY. Yeah, those writers, man, you don't want them writing signs against you, because they really make some clever signs.
And the other thing, you're inside Hollywood. I grew up outside Hollywood, and I think that one of the best things that have come out lately in this and the last generation, even though I'm ageless, is the recognition that the one you see on the screen is only one small part of the entire industry. I think the person on camera has been credited with so much stuff.
Yes.
And the reality is the value of the writer, certainly, the value of, the producer, the value of the director, the value of the people who do all the cinematography. I think that is the silver lining maybe of the writer's strike, because I think for a lot of people, they went, oh, wait, you mean the night? Why are they closing down Conan, or why are they closing down these late night shows? Well, it's because they don't actually come up with the jokes, right? Right.
Watching, that might be a real awakening to people. I didn't think about that, because to me, of course, I've been on these shows, and I know how many people are working on it. It's dozens, if not hundreds, of people to produce a simple little show, and the more complicated ones with all the effects and everything. Oh my God, there's like thousands of people. Nobody ever stays to watch all the credits on a film these days. But if you go to a Marvel movie, you'll spend another 10 minutes after the movie's done just watching this parade of names go by, and everybody's pretty important, or else they wouldn't be there getting paid.
And isn't that also another good silver lining of the outtakes?
That's right.
Right? Because I'm getting to be very expert on, where it's filmed and all the things you don't really think about. So I love that. You mentioned your mom and growing up. Before we bring her on, or you can get her ready to come on. Get her ready. Yeah.
Sure.
You're on deck, Mom.
She's on deck. I'm gonna make some room for her here.
Yeah.
Too.
Yeah.
Okay. Get this into a 2-shot now.
Yes. Beautiful home. I love it.
This is Happy Days Farm. This is her home where she is enjoying her retirement. Mm-hmm. Massive staff of 150 people here, making sure. Okay. See her here.
Jim.
Hi, Mom.
I am.
Hello, darling.
Hi.
Hello, darling.
That's a little better.
It's so wonderful to see you again.
This is Dr. Marissa, the Asian Oprah.
Oh, yes. I'm so happy to see you, Doctor.
I am so happy to see you again. I was blessed when you came to my studio at Sunset Gower way back. You were 79 at the time. No, wait. 89. You were 89. You're now 94, which is stunning to me.
That's the rumor anyway.
You look amazing. And one of my favorite comments and compliments I've ever gotten in my life is from you. You called me a wonderment, and I've never been called a wonderment. So thank you for calling me that.
You're
And
welcome.
I love you. I love you from the bottom of my heart. And I would say this is one of the best occupational hazards of doing this show for over
Good.
11 years is the
Good.
beautiful.
Well, now you're in
people.
my house.
I know. Thanks to COVID, we now know how to get in people's houses without going on a Hollywood tour, right?
That's right.
Right.
It's beautiful. So, how are you?
I'm very well, darling. Isn't that something? But I'm
90.
old, but I'm
Wow.
very well.
Yes, you've aged like a fine wine, for sure. Yes. And your son is dragging you onto these interviews now.
I know.
I've been asking.
My
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah. So cute. I've been asking Harlan to ask you on again for the last 3 years, just so you know. Yeah, and I'm really glad that we finally were able to do that. Thanks to Jim, your baby son.
Yes.
Yes.
He's my first baby. He's my first baby.
Yeah. What's the favorite voice that you like to get from him?
The favorite what from him?
Voice.
Voice.
He's like an impression.
I tell you, he's just so special in every way that I really like everything about him. Isn't that fun? Yeah. And we play games. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah, we
What-
do. I like to put Mom on social media because she's on my TikTok and my Instagram every now and then saying something to fans, or if we're celebrating some holiday or something like that. And I always get, hundreds of thousands of people like to say, "Oh, your mom, Marion, you look great. You're so beautiful. Oh, I love you. You raised me." Everybody feels the same way about her
Yeah.
that I do, which is
Good.
that she actually did raise me. So
Yes.
I feel like you raised me.
I did.
And there's a lot of evidence that
I did.
it happened.
I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't easy to raise a kid and be a working actress like you
No.
were.
No, it was
Two
worried.
kids, single mom.
I worried a lot.
She
Yeah.
cried a lot. She worried a lot.
Mm. She's still acting. Here we go.
You can do it.
Did you ever resent the fact that she was a mom on set? Probably, yes, to Jim. Did you ever have like, how come Mom's gone again?
No.
How come I don't
we
get
were
to
thrilled.
spend enough
We were
time?
thrilled that she was working. We were thrilled she was making money. It made us very, because it was dodgy. We didn't have a lot of money, and she was always looking for work, and she would do plays and she would do TV shows, and if she got a commercial, we were all very excited because that meant we learned that there's this thing called residuals. And
I'm so glad that I still have my rosy cheeks. You can see that.
two of
Yes,
them.
you do. What do you use for skincare?
Oh, I do use a special product, and I forget what it's called.
Oil of Olay. Oil of Olay, I'm told by the
Oh,
staff.
wow.
Yeah.
But I don't know, because my mother was a Canadian and from Saskatchewan,
Mhm.
so she had not good skin. We all have good skin, That's fun.
Mm-hmm. You need a lot of skin up in Saskatchewan. You got to
Yes.
have skin in the game and skin on your body.
And skin in hockey.
Skin in hockey as well, yeah.
I was actually born in Canada as well.
No kidding.
Where?
Yeah.
Where,
In
darling?
Kitchener-Waterloo, Ontario.
Ah,
Oh, yes.
Yes.
Good for you, darling.
Yes. Lots of great things come from Canada,
And
right?
where did your parents come from?
My parents are from Sweden. I'm just kidding. My my parents are from China. And so I'm like, I'm 98% Chinese, and I have a dash of Mongolian.
oh,
So don't piss me off,
Okay.
is what I usually say. But yeah, Chinese is my heritage. What is your heritage?
It's Scotch-Irish, Scottish on my father's side, Irish on my mother's side, Scotch-Irish. And my mother comes from Canada, and my father comes from South Dakota.
Wow. And you were birthed where?
I came from Minnesota. That's
But you,
where
you
I
were
was.
born in. You were born though not in Minnesota.
Yes, I was. I think so.
Okay.
Yes, I was. I was.
Well,
Okay.
let's just see.
That's right.
Let's see.
And
if that's
thank
true.
you for that book, Marion.
Yes,
Marion gave me a copy of that book. I
Oh, good.
love
I'm
the
glad.
book.
I'm glad.
Yes.
Hmm.
At the studio, and she signed it for me, and it's
Yeah, this is Marion Ross's book, My Days, Happy and Otherwise, which you'd think would be a perfect source and authority on where she was born. I'm not finding
Now-
it so easily. But it's in your
I think I was born in Albert Lea.
Okay. It says here, chapter 2, my family. Although I grew up in Albert Lea, I was actually born in a Watertown, Minnesota hospital 30 miles west of Minneapolis. Well, that is
Okay.
You're right,
Same
Minnesota.
area. Same area.
She was right.
She's right. That's one
Right.
for mom and
For mom.
0 for son.
You'd think I'd be an expert. I got to read that book.
Yeah.
At least we had her write a book, you know. That was,
You can still get that book, right?
oh yeah. Yeah. My Days, Happy and Otherwise is available on Amazon. Yeah. And it's a
All of
great
those things.
story. She has amazing stories. And that's why we were very happy that she was able to create that book.
Well, we've
Yes.
enjoyed talking to you very much, darling.
Oh,
it looks like our time is running out, Doctor.
Yes. Well, I just want to say you look fabulous. When I asked Priscilla Presley the secret for her skin, you know what she said?
What?
It's the lighting, which I thought was very funny.
I think in her
But-
case, that's true. Yeah.
Before you leave, Marion, could you give all of the people of this world a blessing? Right? You're one of the beloved mothers of America, I would say, who we were all touched by you in the living room growing up. What's a message after 94 beautiful years on the planet that you would like to impart to everyone who will hear you and see you now? What do you want people to know after a beautiful lifetime that you've had?
Yes. I guess I would like to tell everybody that I know and that I love, because I really love all people, and try to enjoy themselves and try to have a good time, you know. And I'm not much of a cook. I'm not much of a homemaker, but I just do whatever I want to do, and I'm free. I'm very free, and I want you all to be free. And I enjoy talking to you.
Thank you. 谢谢, Marion. Just
谢谢.
best and blessed.
Thank
You
you.
are loving, lovable, and loved, wrapped in a warm blanket of worthiness. And I'm truly touched by your words and coming back to see me.
Thank you.
Thank you
Freedom!
so
Freedom!
much.
Very nice freedom, Doctor. Yes.
Yes. And I wish you the very, very, very best with everything that you have now. And I know that you are happy. You're such a great role model on so many levels.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that. And thank you so much.
Thank you, my darling. Thank you.
Thank you for a swell interview. Lovely talking to you.
You too. Thank you, Jim. And we'll see you again sometime.
Yeah,
All
I love
right.
that. Thanks so much.
Yeah. Do you mind doing this real quick? Remember, I had you do this at the studio. It's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through inner peace. Ready?
You want me to do that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Peace in,
Or
peace out,
Marion too, if
world
she can.
peace.
Peace
I want
in,
to step out of the way.
She's going to step out.
okay.
Peace
Peace in,
peace out.
peace
World
out, world peace
peace
through
through
inner
inner
peace.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Peace in,
Peace in,
peace out.
peace out.
World peace
World peace
through
through
inner
inner
peace.
peace.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you.
That's all, folks.
Okay.
You can do bunny. Is that better? There we go. The Yeti's not working right now, but wow, I hope you enjoyed that. It was obviously a pre-record. This is a wonderful early morning show, and we had to work with Marion's schedule. And as you can see, she is a beautiful 94-year young. And I'm so delighted and grateful and very, very, very blessed to have had her in studio again. And thank you again, Jim Meskimen, her son, for being able to make that happen. And Harlan, of course, my favorite publicist, to do so. I am so delighted that I am able to continue to come to you with this show. I would like to remind us all to do our gratitude sandwich. Since I didn't do it at the top of the show, we'll do it real quick right now. If you have any questions or comments or anything about the interviews with Happy Days, and if you want to be able to re-see those, there's a lot of them there. I've had, I believe, 3 interviews with Potsie, Anson Williams. He's the founder of Alert Drops, which is to combat drowsy driving. I don't know if you knew this, but more people are hurt through drowsy driving than drunk driving. I didn't know that. So certainly all of his interviews are on my YouTube channel. Free subscribe. Potsie, who Ralph Malph, who's Don Most. And Jim was saying that he does impressions of both of them, even though he's not asked to. That is also on my YouTube channel. And I was very blessed to have Morgan Most, Don's wife, who has Parkinson's. And she came on, and she doesn't do, I think I was her second interview ever, because she doesn't usually come on, but she heard my interview with Don and agreed to come on. And that was a great interview, which you can always also get on my YouTube channel. And then finally, the beautiful, beautiful Marion Ross, who came in person when I was at Sunset Gower at age 89. And just now you saw the virtual broadcast interview of her from her home. And I'm getting emotional. The opportunity to have that kind of interaction with people who's, were so influential. I don't know anybody, even millennials. And I asked them, did you watch Happy Days? Do you know, have you heard? And they all say yes. So follow Jim Meskimen and all of his wonderful impressionist things. I went to his cartoon contest and put in a cartoon caption. We'll see if I win. And it's a great laugh. And you know that is one of my favorite sounds, if not the favorite sound in my life. So that is something you can do. If we go to the gratitude sandwich, we'll have a breakfast now after the interview. What are 8 specific things that you are grateful for this morning on Monday, June what day are we on now? It is June the 5th, 2023. I am grateful that 1, I got to interview Marion Ross again. 2, that I got Jim to laugh, which is he's the comedian and he's the impressionist. So the fact that I got both of them to laugh is certainly something I'm grateful for. I'm grateful that I'm slowly unpacking in my new place, same building, 8th floor, of course. And I did not pick it, by the way. 5, I'm grateful that I get to see the Wyland, beautiful Wyland. Let's see if I can get that straight out. There we go. The Wyland building, the painting on the convention center there. So you can see it in the background, that blue thing. I'm grateful that I have a portable camera. I am grateful that I know how blessed I am. And that is truly a gift in itself. I love that her message about freedom. And I'm hoping that you take that to heart as a personal message from Mrs. Cunningham, Mrs. C, and she's called Beloved Mom of Happy Days. All right, now we go to the bottom of the bun, which is, what do you appreciate about yourself? It is June, by the way. Happy LGBTQA plus Awareness Month. That is what June signifies. And again, for those of you who say, well, those are, random. Why don't we get a month if you're not Black history or Hispanic, Latino history or LGBTQ or Asian? Why don't we have a month? The whole point of this is to highlight diversity that is not normally highlighted, and which is so important. It isn't a contest, but it is awareness so that we level that playing field. And thank you for the beeping in the background. I hope Polly, is that beeping like really bad? Oh, see, I knew if I called it out, it would stop. I would like to appreciate my ability to be somewhat flexible on my feet. This show definitely helps me with that. I appreciate that I know how to say I'm sorry. I made a specific amends this week for something that I'm not proud of as a mom, and I know that I do the best that I can, but I'm not perfect. I'm imperfectly perfect. And there's something about saying I'm sorry that actually feels good. So if you are a person who doesn't necessarily like to apologize like me, just know that when you do, it does feel better. And my final appreciation is that I am going to continue to grow and learn and expand and not be so hard on myself, which I'm doing. And that's it for today's show. Tomorrow we have Step Up into Your Best Life with my co-host Beth Linder Moss, who is my fitness, health, wellness certified expert that comes on every first and third Tuesday. So tune in for that. Wednesday, I have a lawyer coming on who is going to help us with estate planning, something we don't talk about, something that we need to do but don't necessarily have the time to do. Glenn is coming on for that. And then Thursday, Straight Talk with Dr. Marissa and Sam Works. The fun time. I had my station manager actually ask me, is that because you only talk about straight relationships? Absolutely not. We talk about all relationships and how they help and hurt your happiness. And then finally, Friday, wrapping up the week, is my tempting conversations with Alon Carter, daughter of the founder of The Temptations, Otis Williams. That's it for another scintillating and very special celebrity episode for Take My Advice. I'm Not Using It. Get Balanced with Dr. Marissa, the morning show here on KCAA, the station that leaves no listener behind. This is Dr. Marissa reminding you it's all about balance. Peace in, peace out, world peace through, inner peace. Now go and have the best Monday ever. We'll see you tomorrow.